Expecting a user to remember the steps to print from FileMaker is short-sighted. They'll need to remember to switch to the right layout. In this case, we're going to do print form. They'll have to remember to go to print setup or page setup, which is not too difficult. But then they'll also have to remember to print and choose records being browsed versus current record. All those things combined, especially with the last one, the printing dialog, can be difficult to remember. And they'll be wondering, why am I getting all these records? I only wanted the current record. You should make it easy for them. Walk them through the process so it's easy to use your solution. So we're going to create that script right now. Go into FileMaker, hit New, and we'll call this print form. And the first thing we're going to do is ask them a question. That's done with show custom dialog. And the reason we do this is a common thing to do at the beginning of every script. Because when somebody clicks on something, you want to give them a chance to at least cancel it. In this case, we're going to give them a chance to say, do I want all records or just the current one? So we're going to have three choices. But at least on very many, unless it's a very simple thing like sort or something like that, or something that's not going to destroy the database or print a bunch of pages or something like that, you don't have to put a custom dialog in there. But it's a good idea on some of these things that do things that they go, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. You put a custom dialog on the front. So we'll ask them all or current, question mark, and then say, would you like to print the contacts in the found set or just the current contact? Question mark. All is the first button, button number 1. Current is button number 2. And then cancel is button number 3. So 1, 2, and 3, if you remember. To test for that, we're going to use an if statement. We're going to use a more complicated if statement because we have actually 3 choices here. So we'll need an else if in there. Now else if is a lot like if, but it changes things a little bit, and we'll go over that in a second once we get everything filled in here. So I'm going to type in get last message choice, which we did before, equals 1. Now notice I typed it in all lowercase. As soon as I exit out, FileMaker puts it in proper case, so it makes it a little bit easier to type the stuff in if you do it that way. Then we'll go to else if. Same thing, but the difference is we're going to say does it equal 2. Now in button number 3, or cancel, we don't have to do anything. We'll just make it not do anything at all. So inside here, what we're going to do inside these if and else ifs is print. So I'll go find that, because that's really the thing that differs. Move it in there. I'll tell it to specify print options, and there's records being browsed. Click print. See, it remembers the printer right here, right? It restores it, but we're going to say show the dialog because we want to see that, because that's how they can go ahead and change that printer. See how it's remembering that printer there? Maybe they don't want that printer, so you need to show that dialog to allow them to change it. Then we'll duplicate that and specify on this one current record. There we go. Now we need to put in some go to layouts. We'll put go to layout in here. That will be going to our print form layout. And then we need to, once we're done, go back to the original layout. Now the original layout isn't a real layout. It's a feature on the go to layout step that says go back to the layout where I click the button. Because if we hard code this to go back to our form view, well then we can only run this script from that layout. But if we go to original layout, we'll go back where the button was, so we can run it from the form view or the list view or any layout we want and make it much more dynamic. Now we also need our print setup in here, so let's get that in there. And we're going to put that right in here. It really doesn't matter too much as long as it's somewhere in here. Probably could even do it right here if you want to, but it's got to be somewhere before the print. And I don't want to do it twice, for each of the if statements, because it really doesn't need to be done twice. So we'll do it at any point here. We'll hit perform without dialog because we don't need to see this dialog, and specify that it's landscape and the paper size, and we're set. So let's go over this and see how it works. First we ask them, do you want to print all, current, or cancel? We then go to this layout and you're wondering, well, what if we hit cancel? Well, the fact is if we hit cancel, it won't go and do all this stuff, and it'll come back to the original layout. You won't see anything happen. We'll show you what we mean by that. It just won't show this or that. Well, in fact, this wouldn't show anyhow, but it won't appear you move at all. So if they choose 1, it's going to go ahead and go to that layout, go to print setup and restore it with no dialog, and then it's going to say, oh, I'm going to get into here. I'm going to print to that printer with records being browsed. Then it's going to go to here, and it's going to go, I don't want to do that because I already did this one. If we choose 2 up here, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to go, oh, I'm not button 2. I'm going to skip that and go to else if. Oh yeah, I'm button 2. Okay, I'll print and then end if and then go to original layout. So that's how that nested if statement works, and it shows the steps that will be done inside each section with that indent. So let's try it out. We're going to go ahead and save this, and we'll go ahead and uncheck that. Go to layout mode. I'll duplicate this button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Move it down, get the same amount of space. That looks good. We'll say run the script, print form. Get our text tool. Select everything, print form. There we go, that looks good. Go to browse, hit print. Now we really can't do current or all, but we can do cancel so you can see that nothing appears to happen. Even though it went to that print form layout, it went there and then came back so quickly you couldn't see it happen. FileMaker is smart enough to know not to draw that layout unless you stop there. So there's a great little print script to help your users better work with your solution rather than have to know all those steps.